week 16 of the fantasy baseball season, and here's a few hitters I looked to drop this week. The first guy is Jace Peterson of the Milwaukee Brewers. So Peterson, he was a hot pickup in weeks 13 and 14, where he got off to a crazy tear for this Brewer team, and also filling in for Colton Wong at second base before he got back from injury. So Peterson, he qualifies at first, second, third, and outfield in fantasy baseball. That's why he was so valuable as well on the season. 4 home runs, 21 RBIs, 7 stolen bases, 23 runs scored, a 244 batting average, and a 373 on base. But the last couple weeks here for Peterson, he's done nothing at all to garner a roster spot anymore in fantasy baseball. No home runs, 1 RBI, 2 stolen bases, a run scored, a 190 batting average, and a 308 on base percentage. So right there, those numbers aren't getting the job done. And I think he's an easy drop, especially with Colton Wong, like I mentioned, back in the lineup, and Peterson not playing every day. So the last few games for him: July 17th at the Reds, 2 for 5 with an RBI. July 18th at Cincinnati, 0 for 4. July 21st versus Kansas City, 1 for 4. July 23rd, he only pinched hit, 0 for 1. 24th sat out versus the White Sox. And July 25th versus the White Sox, 0 for 4. So right now, he's not getting good playing time here, is Peterson. And I don't think he's worth the roster spot, especially he's not playing, and especially he's on a crazy cold streak. So he's an easy drop this week. The second hitter I look to drop is Jarred Kelenic of the Seattle Mariners. So Kelenic, one of the top prospects in all of baseball, and a guy that obviously they were high on Seattle, and they got him in the Edwin Diaz, Robinson Cano deal a few seasons ago with the Mets. But so far this season for Kelenic, 2 home runs, 6 RBIs, 3 stolen bases, 8 runs scored. And ever since he got called back up from the minor leagues again here in his second stint in the bigs this season, the last couple weeks, a 125 average with a 200 on base, 15 strikeouts in 32 at-bats, and 1 run scored. So right now, this kid's been a major bust. I know it's only his rookie year, but in redraft leagues, there's no reason to really hold on to him. And fantasy owners have dropped him in 5% of leagues so far this week. And the last few ball games here for Kelenic: July 18th at the Angels, 1 for 4. July 20th at the Rockies, 0 for 4. July 21st at the Rockies, 0 for 3. The 22nd versus Oakland, 0 for 3. July 23rd versus Oakland, 0 for 3. July 24th versus Oakland, 0 for 2 with a run. And July 25th versus Oakland, 1 for 4. So right now, he's not hitting the baseball. He's not getting on base. And he's showing no value or anything of decency that he's going to break out of his slump. So right now, in redraft leagues, he's an easy drop in my opinion. And if he gets hot again, you go out there and pick him up. And if not, you obviously made the right and quick decision to drop him here in week 16. The next hit is Jed Lowry of the Oakland Athletics. So Jed Lowry had a good resiliency and comeback season early in the year. After the last 2 seasons with the New York Mets, he's only played in 3 or 4 games, I believe it was. So he was injured pretty bad, obviously, with the knee injury. But here with the Oakland A's, he got off to a hot start, like I mentioned it on the season here for Lowry. 11 home runs, 48 RBIs, 42 runs scored, a 258 batting average, and a 326 on base. So he was a hot pickup early in the season for fantasy owners. But the last couple weeks here, he hasn't done much as well. 1 home run, 6 RBIs, 2 runs scored, a 212 average, and a 229 on base percentage. So obviously those numbers are nothing at all for fantasy owners. And right now the Oakland Athletics here, they're still going to run him out there every day. But right now it doesn't mean he should be on your fantasy team as Lowry, because he's not doing anything, in my opinion. The last few games for him: July 19th versus the Angels, 1 for 4. July 20th versus the Angels, 0 for 3 with an RBI. July 22nd at Seattle, 1 for 5. July 23rd at Seattle, 0 for 3. July 24th at Seattle, 1 for 4 with 2 RBIs. And July 25th at Seattle, 0 for 4. So right here, Jed Lowry, he's only got 3 hits in the last week here for this Oakland Athletic team and fantasy owners. And right now, even in the deepest of leagues, there's no reason to keep him on your roster as Lowry, because he's not doing much of anything. And he's a drop this week. The next hit is Eugenio Suarez of the Cincinnati Reds. So Suarez, we know he's got legit power. We know that for years he's been doing things, but on the season, his numbers as a total just aren't anything at all to me. It's 18 home runs, 53 RBIs, which is a good home run RBI ratio at this time of the season. 44 runs scored, a 171 batting average though, and a 256 on base. So right now it's pretty much a home run or nothing for Suarez, and his on base is pretty decent to his average. So maybe a home run or a walk is the only thing he's doing. And the last couple weeks for Suarez, no home runs, 3 RBIs, a run scored, a 133 average, and a 257 on base. So right now those numbers are abysmal. They're way under even the Mendoza line. And right now in a couple leagues, I just had enough of Suarez as well and dropped him because he's just a home run and nothing. His strikeout rate is pretty high in my opinion as well. 119 strikeouts in 350 at-bats, so he's not putting the ball in play that much. And it's just a horrible season for Suarez, a guy who obviously we saw a few seasons ago hit 49 home runs and have seasons with 30 plus home runs, which he could do again this season. But it looks like he's going to finish the year under 200, and that's something you don't want on your fantasy team the rest of the way. So the last few games for Suarez: July 19th versus the Mets, 0 for 6 with a run. July 20th versus the Mets, 2 for 4. July 21st versus the Mets, 0 for 3. July 23rd versus St. Louis, 1 for 3 with an RBI. July 24th versus St. Louis, 0 for 3. And the 25th versus St. Louis, 0 for 1. So right now, he's giving fantasy owners nothing. He's barely getting a hit over here is Suarez. It looks like he's getting 2 or 3 hits a week at the pace he's going. And right now, he's not doing that great in the power category where he's a must-own player. So he's a player I would shy away from and drop this week. In the 5th and final hitter I would drop Josh Rojas of the Arizona Diamondbacks. So Rojas, another hot fantasy wire pickup early in the season, but now he's landed on the injured list, is the utility infielder with a finger injury, and we don't know how long he's going to be out with a dislocated finger. Is Rojas on the season: 10 home runs, 28 RBIs, 7 stolen bases, 50 runs scored, a 268 average, and a 356 on base. So those numbers, they're not that poor right here for Rojas, but they're not that great as well. So, but he was heating up before he went down with the injury. In the last couple weeks, no home runs, 2 RBIs, 2 stolen bases, 5 runs scored, a 450 batting average, and a 593 on base. So he was getting on base 60% of the time, just about, as Rojas. But now the injury set him back, and he was in a cold slump before he got hot after the All-Star break. So the last few games for Rojas: July 16th versus the Cubs, 2 for 4 with an RBI. July 17th versus the Cubs, 1 for 4 with a rib. July 18th versus the Cubs, 1 for 1 with 2 runs scored. July 19th versus Pittsburgh, 2 for 3. July 20th versus Pittsburgh, 1 for 4 with 2 runs. And July 21st was the last ball game he appeared in before the injury, 2 for 4 with a run. So right now, no timetable for his return. I know it's only a finger injury, but obviously he's an infielder who's going to have the glove on the broken finger hand. And obviously he's a hitter too that relies on batting average and speed. So right now, I think Rojas is an easy drop. And if he gets things going once again, he'll be out there in tons of fantasy leagues where he's still available in 63% of leagues, even if he's getting dropped. So that's a few hitters I look to drop here in week 16 of the fantasy baseball season.